Welcome to Inside Out, where we are helping you transform soul, body, and image. You do not want to miss this show. We're taking it into the bedroom today. We've got a sexpert with us here, and we're going to be diving deep under the covers of what has been preventing you from enjoying this intimate process. Stay tuned.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Thank you for joining us today on Inside Out, where we are helping you transform soul, body, and image. I am Allison H. Larson, and I'm your soul expert. I'm so excited for today's topic and really excited to take it into the bedroom. We've got with us the beautiful Eugenia Battaglia, and I must say I love those shoes. You are styling today, girl. Got your bright yellow shoes ready for our show. And we have joining us on set here today, Jamie McQuivey, and she is our sexpert.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm really happy.
Welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you too. And we wanted to start out today, Jamie and Eugenia, we're going to talk about what our stories were growing up. So we each have this different story. Everybody's raised different. We have some households that they talk about everything. In my household, things were a little bit different. I have a very proper father, and he is a wonderful man, but I remember he would turn bright red every time we even said the word bra, underwear. He absolutely refused. I remember one time as a teenager, I needed some tampons.
Oh boy.
He would not go get me tampons. My mom was out, and he refused. He said, I won't do it. I think he called a neighbor or something.
Too
Have me
funny.
call a neighbor.
That's too, because, you know, not every other person on the planet has that.
I know.
Monstrating
Right?
time of the month, so that's so embarrassing, but I understand.
What about your dad? What was your story growing
Are you
up with
kidding
your
me?
parents?
There was no story. There was no talking about it, nothing. I mean, even about my period. I remember my mom barely even talked to or educated me about any of that. I mean, there was none. I've never even remember seeing my parents being slightly even loving or intimate in outside of the bedroom, let alone, well, obviously not in the bedroom, but you know what I mean. So there was no talk. Everything I know or I learned on my own through experience, which I don't recommend it to anybody. I mean, I've got teenagers, and boy, do we talk about it too much, I think. And I don't know, is that okay? How much is too much, Michelle, to talk about with your kids? Because
actually, her name's Jamie.
Jamie. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I don't know. You look like a Michelle. Is that okay if I call you Michelle? No.
I think there's some bedroom fantasies coming out right now.
Oh heavens, no, that's not good. So, Jamie. I mean, even my girls, I have teenagers, and I ask them, okay, if when you kiss a boy, you know, what do you feel? What do you even, what are those feelings? Is that okay to ask? Because I always tell them, if you kiss a boy, that's going to lead, to pregnancy. That's it. You kiss a boy, you get pregnant.
Yeah.
But
I think that, being open and having that open communication, they can talk to you about anything. And kissing, sometimes it's just fun. It's something that just is
joking.
Exciting.
I'm just trying to put the fear of what in them. But
and Jamie, I really want to know too. I mean, you've got some children. I've got some children. Eugenia has some children. What was your story growing up?
Well, I had an interesting story. I had a father who did not want to talk about it, didn't want to think about it, but then I had a mother who was a midwife, and she talked about it a lot, and so I got kind of both messages. But what what really affected me was how it was in the media, how it was at school, how it was everywhere else was no, 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 shame, 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 guilt, guilt, guilt. And so that's what it ended up being. And then I got married, and that 30-minute ceremony was supposed to flip me from yes, 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 this is awesome and great, and it didn't work that way. And then I had kids, and definitely didn't work the same way. And so as I was talking to friends, I found that no one really had the answers, so it was up to me to find the answers.
Yeah, and I love that. You know, growing up, my mom was a little bit more open, but I remember my sex education consisted of, here's a book, which she had gotten at a Christian bookstore, and she said, why don't you read this and let me know if you have any questions. And I had a similar experience as you when I got married. You know, my whole life I've been told that this is wrong, this is bad, don't do it, you're gonna get pregnant if you know, even kiss a boy. And then all of a sudden, I got married really young, and it was like, this is okay, this is good.
Exactly.
And to make that mental shift is really hard. So I appreciate you bringing up and saying that. And we're so excited to learn more from you. And what is your tip? If you could give one piece of advice to the parents watching the show right now, for us having teenage girls, as parents, one short, brief tip that you would tell every parent about educating their kids about sex.
I'd say the first thing is stop being uncomfortable talking about it. Get comfortable talking about it, because we can sense when they whisper it or they spell it. I still have talked to parents who, S-E-X.
Why is this so taboo? I don't get it.
I think it's growing up.
It's the most normal thing of life, I would think.
Well, and coming up, we're going to talk more about this taboo topic of sex. We're going to learn about Jamie, her story, and what she's doing now to help people overcome their fears in the bedroom. You don't want to miss it.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
Welcome back to Inside Out. If you're just joining us, today we're taking our show into the bedroom. Don't worry, we're keeping it PG-13. We've got a sexpert with us today, Jamie McQuivey, and we've also got our fabulous image consultant, Eugenia Battaglia, with us today.
Hello.
And I'm Allison H. Larson. I'm just fascinated to learn about this, and I think this is a topic, as we were just discussing in our previous segment, that a lot of us avoid. It's something that we don't talk about. Maybe we get these false perceptions growing up that sex is bad, and that can carry over into our marriage. And as women, it can be very frustrating. So Jamie, I want to hear a little bit more about your story and how you got into what you're doing now.
Okay. I mentioned that I didn't have much of an education growing up, and that after I got married,
So when you say education, you're meaning you didn't have a sexual education. You basically went from a non-educated sex teenager, getting married young, and just being thrown into the whole experience.
Yeah, I mean, I started out, being a little girl, and your mommy and daddy love each other so much that it spills over and creates a baby. And then, you have the 6th grade talk where they separate you and tell you how to take care of body odor and menstruation. And then I was fortunate enough to have a football coach give me sex ed in 9th grade.
There you go.
Perfect.
Hey, did
There
your
you
football
go.
coach give you some sex ed?
I wasn't even that lucky.
At least mine was a female. So.
And he was so uncomfortable. And then I kind of moved on. I was just that was my toolbox. And then I got married, and I had sex, but I didn't know how to respond to it appropriately. I wanted it, then I didn't want it. It was good to have it, yet I've been told so many times that it's not good. So as I started talking with friends, we're sitting at the pool and in the park, and I've realized that nobody knows what they're talking about. And my choices were to do nothing or go to sex therapy.
So when you're talking about, you're with your friends, you're at the pool, so you're talking about other young mothers who really aren't educated in how, and I love what you said. You said you had sex, but the way you said it made me feel like it was
like
something
a lack
like
of intimacy.
Yeah, like
almost.
a duty or something.
Like you go from 1 and you jump straight into 5. Like you think it's just a one-stop shop. But there's so much in between.
There's
right?
so much in between. And fortunately with my husband, that we did explore a lot and try to bring in the intimacy, but there was no theory behind it. It was just, it was fumbling is what it was.
Well, hey, your football coach did teach you about sex.
That's
so,
right.
Fumbles, balls in the bedroom.
Yeah, so I was sitting there and it was almost, I imagined like 5-year-olds sitting around talking about finances. Nobody really knows what they're talking about. So I had to figure out what this was, if I was broken, because we all felt broken in some way. We all felt like...
And by broken, you mean you don't, sometimes as women, we don't get to the finish line. Is that what you're saying?
One, we don't get to the finish line, or we don't have a libido, we don't want to, what's wrong with me?
Sure.
All these things, we just go, there's something wrong with me, and then we think we're the only one.
Yeah.
But I've sat in so many circles, and I'm like, you're not.
So, Michelle, apparently, Jamie, I cannot believe this. Jamie, I apologize. I owe you big time. So, Jamie, apparently, according to Planned Parenthood, 1 in 3 women don't have an orgasm. Would you disagree with this? Would you agree? I mean, that's 80% of women don't finish. That's pretty high.
I would agree. I think a lot of women that I've talked to they're like, they say, do I know? I don't even know if I know what an orgasm is. And I say, oh, if you've had one, you know.
Wow, that's amazing. And so I want to know, you saw this problem you're describing to us. You're sitting there with a group of women. You all feel broken. So how did you go from that point to being now a sexpert? How did you get from that point of recognizing there was a problem to being able to fix the problem? What are you doing now?
Well, I started out interviewing women and books and TV shows and talking to therapists and everything. So what I've done now is I've compiled. I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm a coach. And so what I do is I help women first identify the things that are keeping them back, barriers. So in the instance we talked about with thinking it's bad or wrong, it's called the good girl syndrome. So we have to work past that. We have to change our thoughts. But then at the same time, we have to retrain our bodies, because a lot of us have negative experiences.
Sure.
And so we have to not just take out the negative thoughts, but we have to put in positive thoughts and positive experiences. So for 6 weeks, I have a specific coaching program that lays out both all the mental, emotional, and physical aspects, and helps you to communicate and bring your husband into the process.
I love this. So listen up. This is phenomenal. This is brilliant. So talk about, I cannot wait. Are we going to dive into it right now? I love this.
Well, coming up, we're actually going to hear from you about 5 sexual dilemmas that most women are frustrated about.
Yes.
And so your coaching program, your 6-week coaching program, you cover this, you cover many other topics.
Absolutely.
We are going to be privileged to hear from Jamie today. So stay tuned, you guys. We're going to get coaching from our sexpert, Jamie McQuibby, coming up next. So get your notebooks ready, get your pens ready. You're going to have lots of great notes to take down, and your husband, your boyfriend, is going to thank you. So stick with us.
Our family is no less than any other family.
My heart doesn't see race.
Love is love.
redhead. Staring contest.
You still got it.
I know. Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
This is Inside Out, and we are helping you transform soul, body, and image. We have our sexpert with us today, Jamie McQuivey, and the beautiful Eugenia Battaglia. I'm Allison H. Larson, and I have to say, Jamie, I loved your book. I read it. I started it on the plane on the way here, and I read the entire thing. I loved what you had to say in the book. And one of the things that I really was interested in is these dilemmas that women face when it comes to sexual frustration.
So, and Jamie, you mentioned to me that there are five top questions that women that are frustrated about, sexually frustrated about, they come to you with. And so let's talk about those 5 really quick, okay? So, and let's see if you relate to any of these, because there is one that I do relate to, and you know, we're on camera and this is so embarrassing.
Hey,
but
we're getting personal. We're going into the bedroom together
Every person
today.
experiences this, I hope. So number 1, Jamie, no libido. Talk to me for a second about that.
No libido. A lot of women think that they don't have a libido because they don't realize.
Which is
a sexual drive. That wanting to initiate.
Wanting to be in. Okay.
Yeah, and so they don't understand that for men, sex is reactional, and for women, it's a decision. And if they haven't made that decision and moved into that space, they just think they're broke.
So reactional, they see a beautiful woman, they want it, us, we need to think about it, set the mood, candles, all of that, right? I know.
Well, and that's so interesting. I don't think I've ever really fully known what libido was before. So thank you. Again, that lack of education when I was a teenager. What's the second thing?
Number 2, you feel broken. And I can relate to this because sometimes it takes a little while and I think there's something wrong with me. So, but the more I talk to women and friends and even speaking to you yesterday, she said this is more common than not. Am I correct?
It is absolutely common because we haven't been educated. We don't know how to turn our bodies on because we compare ourselves to men. We're not reactional.
Interesting.
So when we pretend that we're reactional, it doesn't work. We're not into it.
So we need to get to know our bodies intimately.
And that's a problem with me sometimes. You know, I know like I'll get into my bed, my husband's ready to go, and I'm like, okay, am I just supposed to flip this switch and all of a sudden be ready to go? So I love.
But you said it's okay. No, take your time. Get to know. So if by touching your shoulder gets you there, then let him know. Communicate.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Number 3.
So hold on. So foreplay. Is that what you're saying? So women really need some
Absolutely.
Well, I think that it goes even back farther beyond that, is that we need time. We need, so we have something in our home that if he wants to have sex that night and he knows he does, then he needs to say heads up.
Because
then that tells
heads
me,
up. So how long does he do that before?
As soon as he can. So, I mean, hopefully it's hours. Because I want to know if I need to shave, okay, to feel comfortable, if I need to take a nap, if I need to have the kids in bed,
take a nap.
Whatever it takes to get me in that mood. So if he gives me in the morning, he says heads up, which to me is kind of romantic when he's like, and then I'm thinking about it all day.
I like that.
I'm preparing. And so that's the decision we're talking about. So for him to come right in and just say, you ready now? No.
Exactly.
No, I'm not. I'm
because
in
we're
mom
so
mode
emotional, right?
Yeah.
To me, in fact, just really quick, to me, I think foreplay, I heard this one time and I loved it and it stuck with me. Right. Foreplay should start from the moment you're done the last time until the next time you are ready. And I love that. And I so like that. You want to be with me? Wine and dine me. And I mean that loosely, but you know what I mean? Just kind of play with me, nudge me, or talk to me or whatever and get me ready. Foreplay is everything to me.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. I love that advice. Having a keyword, heads up, have the woman be prepared.
Yes, we got number 3, Jamie. How do I work through my barriers? That's another top one that women come to. How do I work through my barriers, my frustration?
So first of all, we have to identify which barrier is keeping you from enjoying sensational sex with your husband. And then there's different ways to change your mind or to work through, again, going back to the good girl syndrome, educating yourself about it's not bad. And I'm a God-centered sensational sex coach. So we talk about the body, being designed for this. And once you understand that, really understand it, then you can actually revel in the fact that you're sexual.
Hold on, you're saying, and this to me, I think I've got the good girl syndrome. You can't say God and sex in the same sentence. Are you kidding me? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I get that all the time. People separate them because sex is dirty, sex is wrong, sex is base, and it's actually not. And in the Bible, there's several things that talks about communication and sex with your husband or with your wife.
I think it's the most sacred thing, intimate portion of between a partner, between each other. To me, is extremely sacred.
Well, that must be my barrier. Is that
it's a spiritual connection, I think.
Yeah. I think that's my barrier. Is that I think you just helped me identify a barrier that I've always thought that you can't. Sex is bad. You can't bring God into it. I love what you're saying, and when I read your book, you had several good points in there about that. So I really appreciated that and enjoyed that. So thank you for helping me identify my barrier. Hopefully, you are identifying your barrier. What's preventing you? And if you're just joining us, Jamie McQuivey is a sex coach, and she's giving us some fabulous advice about how to overcome these frustrations that women have when it comes to sex. So what's number 4?
Really quick. I'm too busy, don't have time.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick. I like that. Real quick. I'm too busy, don't have time.
Touch on that really quick.
Well, it's our priorities. We as women, we focus so much outward that we forget home base.
Okay.
Let's talk. I just want to talk a little bit about this really quick. So give us a little more information, that one tip to help with that frustration.
Well, when you're committed, you do what it takes. When you're interested, you do what's convenient. So you decide whether you're really committed or interested.
And that is very
that is juicy.
So how do you determine if you're committed or interested?
You'll know if you're willing to do what it takes. Are you willing to stay up late? Are you willing to say no to things that you think are important, but in helping your spouse? Do I work those extra hours, or do I go on a date with my husband? When you say yes to one, you say no to the other.
I love that. When you say yes to one, you say no to the other. I love that. And number 5, final, last but not least, I can't be intimate with my kids around. I remember, I'm not married now, but I remember when I was married, and Mom, Dad, they knock on the door and it's just like, I can't do this. And they're like, yes, you can. I'm like, no, I can't. There's little hands sticking under the door.
Well, as soon as I hear my children's voices, my whole sexual drive is like down. And I actually have my daughter in studio with me today. So, honey, luckily,
quite the education.
We actually do it with our kids around. They're just usually quiet in the other room. Hopefully, they don't know. I'll have to ask her later.
So, what do you suggest to that, Jamie? Just send the kids away to the neighbors? Take more vacation?
A couple of times, two things is one, pre-plan. When they're at soccer practice, it doesn't have to be at night. It can be in the morning. It can be in the shower. It can be anywhere you want. And number 2, be a ninja. That's kind of fun.
Be a ninja.
A ninja.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
That means you be sneaky. You be stealth.
I love that.
And that creates also a fun and an interactive.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of this forbidden, sense of forbidden.
It's a tryst. Do this
with the kids around. I love that. And
so make time for. Sorry to interrupt. So make time to come home during lunch or whatever. That's
And one thing I loved in your book was a do not disturb sign on the door.
Absolutely.
I mean, if the kids know that's going on, they will not come anywhere near the bedroom,
like
especially with my daughter's nodding her head, especially when they're teenagers. So great tips, great advice, and see which one you've identified with, or have you identified with all 5 of these. Jamie is helping women all over the nation really be able to enjoy sex, enjoy their marriages, and enjoy their relationships even more. Coming up next, Jamie's going to do some one-on-one coaching with the sexy Lorena Joy Stewart, who is our body image consult. So join us back for that, and you're going to get some great tips that you can use too to amp up your sex life.
With the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to Inside Out. I'm Lorena Joy Stewart, your body expert, and we're here with your sexpert, Jamie Lee McQuivy. I want to make sure I didn't mess up your name, and I did anyway. Yeah.
You can call me Jamie.
Jamie. Okay, perfect. So Jamie, I'm super excited to talk to you because we're talking about the dirty, juicy in the eyes of people who sex. Oh my gosh, you can't talk about sex. And you're really making it a topic that's comfortable, and you're making it comfortable for people to love their bodies and to be okay with talking about sex. So I love what you're doing, and I love that you're educating and helping women become their full self. And I want to talk to you about being a body expert. I deal with a lot of women that have body issues.
Yes.
And I'm sure you hear it a lot. Is there any stories that you can share about women with body issues, and what do you tell them? How do you coach them about those body issues? Because I'm sure there's viewers out there that could probably...
Absolutely. First, I start to tell women that it's in their minds. It's how they view themselves. It's their perception. And the good news is that can be changed. That can be uplifted. So I have had clients who have such poor body issues that they won't have sex with the light on. They will, or undressed actually, because they feel so bad about their bodies. And what I'm telling them is that our bodies were designed for this. Our bodies are powerful creators. And when we learn to accept our sexuality and honor our sexuality, then it becomes fun. It becomes something that we are so connected with our spouse with.
Absolutely. What is a step, what's something someone can apply, a viewer that's out there thinking, I hate my body, let's say they're the one that turns the lights off when it's time to jump in bed, or they're leaving their t-shirt on. What is one little nugget of wisdom you would say the first step to feeling comfortable with the lights on or taking the shirt off?
First of all, I would say stop with the negative chatter. Every time you say something negative about your body, say 9 things that are positive about it. And then slowly start to turn up that light. If you add candles, if you just add a little bit more until you can rejoice in it and stand there naked.
That's so good. I love that. So you're not jumping in head first, blasting the lights on. It start with the candle lit, dim lights, and then you build yourself up. That's great. Another thing I want to talk to you about, being a sexpert and coaching, working with thousands of women, is something that I've talked about. Here I am, 28, having this conversation with a man, my best friend's fiance, and we talked about sex outside of marriage and the toll it takes on the soul, because I am, a body expert, but part of the body is the spirit and the soul, your mind. And I talked to him about how when there's continual sex outside of marriage with different partners, that you're taking layers of yourself away and layers, and then you wonder why you can't just be with one person, or you wonder why you can't really fully connect, or you don't feel whole. Do you come across this, or do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, when we are committed to somebody, that's what we're talking about. We do what it takes. We're committed to this person. Then we allow ourselves to really open up, and we are looking in each other's eyes when we kiss and when we make love, and we're touching and holding, and that can't help but deepen our affection for each other. So when you're going around, giving it away or thinking this one's the one, and then you have a one-night stand and it's not, you're just slowly chipping away at the gift that can be given to someone who you're truly committed to.
Do you notice that people who do continue to have sex, with several people, when they do find the one, does it take away from the joy, the pleasure, the connection, the gift that you say it is? Does it truly, because some people say, oh, you were just born that way, it's your religion, or that's a seed your mom planted in your head. But there's statistics I've read that have, and I know we talked about it, that have proven
that there's more issues within marriage if they're out having premarital sex.
That is true, and a lot of it has to do with just jealousy too. You know, if you're, so when I look, and I've met some of my husband's exes, he's never slept with them. There's no jealousy, there's no guilt or shame on his part, and I'm actually friends with these women. I've spent nights at their homes. And so there's not that disconnect there.
I bet a lot of women can't say that. So Jamie, a lot of people are they're watching and like, oh my God, I want her to help me. I want to be amazing in bed. I want to turn the lights on. How do they connect with you? How do they get in contact with you?
Well, I go to my website, which is jamieleemcquivy.com, and you can contact me there, and we set up a session, and we first of all dive into what your hang-ups are, and then create a program specific for you and your spouse.
Okay, perfect. So that website's on the screen. So coming up next, we have more talk about SEX. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
You've messed up your son's haircut. Do you try to fix it? Work with what you've got? Or show solidarity?
Thank you, babe. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education. I dare you to be somebody important. Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star. I dare you to stand up here. To call the shots. To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher. Think you can change my life? Make me excited about science like you? Have a career that really means something? Then do it. I dare you.
Welcome back to Inside Out, and we're talking more about SEX, and Eugenia, our image expert, is going to talk to us about the first form of foreplay, which is your image. Eugenia?
Absolutely. I mean, come on. I could just say, you know what, just look good, because you're going to feel good, and then it gets started from there, and we could end this segment right now, right? I mean, if you just look good, you're gonna feel good, you're gonna look if you're gonna look sexy, you're gonna feel sexy, and your partner's gonna think that, and we're done. But
so I want to know how to look sexy. How do I look sexy? I mean, have that good girl
obviously
syndrome.
It's individual for everybody. But I mean, let me share a few tips with you guys, right? So let's start in our closet.
Taking notes.
Okay, take notes. Everything that is hanging in your closet, you should love, and when you put it on, you should feel sexy while wearing it. Okay, so get rid of everything that you don't love. I know I'm hearing you right now. You're probably saying, well, that means I'll be left with nothing or almost anything, but you know, camping clothes, painting clothes, you can keep those. But seriously, when you get dressed in the morning, or when, you know, to go to work, or to go on a date especially, or even if it's just with your husband, you should feel good. You should feel sexy.
I have a question for you though.
Yes.
Here's my problem. So how do you look sexy without looking slutty?
That's a good question.
How do you
good question, because that was about one of my points too. Here's the thing. There's a difference between fit and skin tight. Big difference, right? Don't put it all out there.
Wait, what is the difference?
Don't put it all out there.
Some people that think it's fit, it's definitely skin tight.
It's skin tight,
but,
sure.
Like someone out there's like, well, I think it's fit, but it's skin tight. Like, how do they measure that? How do you measure that?
Flattering, right? Fitted, not skin tight. And so don't show it all at once.
I thought of something. If you can see the cellulite, it's too skin tight.
Yes, and you know what? I was talking to someone yesterday about this, the skinny look, right? The skinny jean look, and now all those spandex yoga pants that everybody wears. Will you stop it with those? Because even if you're size 0, you can still see it. Most people should not be wearing those spandex pants everywhere.
I won't ask what the it is, but yeah, go ahead.
The cellulite, because we all have it, but it's just like I see people that should definitely not be wearing it, but they think it's sexy. It's not. Okay, it's not. Let's cover up a little bit more. To me, it's sexier if you're covered up a little bit more. Leave room to the imagination, right?
Like
Let them figure it out. So I'm single, so I date, and oh, honey, it's not all that's cracked up to be. So, you know, put effort into it. Remember, men and women, the first form of foreplay, I think, is the image, is the look. They look at you, the attraction, those first 30 seconds. Within those first 30 seconds, they're going to decide already and have you measure down from head to toe, I want you or I don't want you.
Well, I want to put a plug
because
in
as
here.
a boy, as you know, sorry to interrupt you, men, they start with their eyes. They eat first with their eyes. They're very visual.
Well, and I want to put a plug in here, though, for married women as well, because this is something my husband and I were discussing recently. I do a lot of events. I do the TV show. I'm always dressed up, and when I go home, I don't want to dress up.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
But he talked to me the other day, and he said, you know, I really like when you dress up once in a while for me, because then I feel important.
And you know what, Allison? There's a lot of women, my clients, and even men, that they have that exact question is, how do I go from day to at home relaxed and sexy? And there is a way. There are so many lines right now and so many clothes out there that you can look cute and still relaxed but sexy, right? So even if it's just a little tank top with some really comfortable sweatpants, cute sweatpants, not the ones that have the big letters down the side. You know, there are ways of doing that. And sometimes I can just hear women like, oh honey, I'm too old, or he doesn't look at me. Age is an excuse. Okay. I remember Rob Bell. He has spoken on the Super Soul Sunday stages, and I was listening to him one day, and he said he met this lady at one of his events, and she was 92 years old. So she whispers to him, and she says, "I am 92 years old, and I'm just getting started." And I love that. And I love that. And that goes for everything in your life, I think. So it doesn't matter what age you are. Don't make excuses that you can't look sexy, or because you're not a certain size, or because you don't feel good.
It's so classy when I see an older woman that's really dressed up. She has earrings. I ran into a couple of ladies the other day. They were in their 70s.
Yes.
They had jackets on. They looked sharp. They had their earrings in.
Don't lose it.
And I just thought, you know what? When I am 70 years old, I want to take just as good care of my body as I do now.
Because sometimes we wonder why our husbands or wives start looking to someone else, because we've lost that spark. We've let ourselves go. We don't care anymore. Go shopping. In fact, it releases oxytocin.
Oh, go shopping.
You buy that new pair of shoes.
Not for me.
Oh yes. When I bought, look at these shoes.
Shopping.
This is just doing it for me today, baby. That I don't know.
Is that where all this confidence is
all
coming from?
All of it. No.
So point proven. Feel sexy and gain confidence, because this woman's on fire today. Coming up next, Allison's going to talk about boosting confidence in the bedroom with your soul image. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Welcome back to Inside Out. We're talking about the three-letter word. You heard it here, SEX, and Allison Larson, our soul experts, going to dive in to your soul image and how to boost confidence in the bedroom.
Oh, this is good. I can't wait to do
Well,
this.
you guys know I've got that good girl syndrome, so I'm going to tell you how to get real raunchy. Well, first of all, I just want to
Raunchy? Raunchy? That's the message. That's bad. We don't want to be raunchy.
See, you guys,
you know what?
Okay.
I'm
Sorry.
so naive She's about such a good girl that she doesn't even know the vocabulary or vernacular of the bedroom talk.
Okay, so what would you say instead of raunchy?
Get sexy.
Sexy. Okay, we're getting sexy.
Confident.
I want to put a plug in for Jamie's book first. We've had Jamie McQuivey on with us, if you're just joining us. She's our sexpert. And this book, Sensational Sex Was God's Idea. You guys, I was on the plane last night. I started reading this. I could not put it down.
Wow.
I think this book is great, and she had some really good ideas about affirmations in there, and that's something that I want to talk about because it really can help you in the bedroom. And something Jamie brought up before was that men can be instantly ready to go.
Yeah.
Women, we take
under
some,
any circumstances.
Right. We take some prep. We take some prep. One of the things she mentioned in that book was doing the Kegel exercises, or
I hate those.
But you know,
I hate them. So maybe that's my problem.
That's a physical exercise we can do to prepare for the bedroom.
Okay.
Well, there are mental exercises we can do to prepare our soul, because women really emotionally connect when they're intimate. But to be able to emotionally connect, we need to be in a good place, because here's the thing energetically. If we're worried about ourselves, if we're feeling insecure and thinking negative thoughts about ourselves, all our energy and focus is going to be on us. And to create this intimate experience where we're really bonding with somebody, we need to be able to focus on them. So the question is, how do we step out of this place of insecurity and really start to feel confident and good about ourselves? So I recommend affirmations. So is it okay if we get a little personal here?
Oh my heavens. I think I've already gotten way personal, and I don't know if I regret it or not.
Just you, me, and our friend at home, right? Just
over 1
Okay,
million people watching us, talking to them about my...
So Lorena, what is your #1 insecurity, either now or in the past, when it comes to the bedroom?
Well, what if I haven't had a bedroom experience?
Oh, I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
I'm just kidding. What if I'm a virgin? Why do you assume I've had a bedroom
That's a great
experience?
thing, because you are single.
If you'd had a bedroom experience.
Okay, no, the truth is, when it comes to the bedroom, the fear of not being with the thing is, like, because I was raised, you wait to have married, or you can get married then have sex.
Right.
So to me, there's always this guilt, shame, and fear looming behind me, because it's like, well, you're supposed to be waiting, you're supposed to So for me, it was always kind of, I was focused on myself and my own insecurities with, is this person going to be in my, I was thinking long term. I mean, it just,
I know, right? Your mind just keeps going.
I have to say, when you have that kind of energy and you have that fear rolling and rumbling, it shows in your confidence, because then you lose your confidence, because then you're second guessing yourself. And whether you're an athlete, whether you're, anytime you do anything, if you don't have confidence, you cannot perform.
Okay, so here's a really simple tip. I'm going to take your hand for a minute. Thank you for sharing. So something, Lorena, that I would recommend to you, you've identified that guilt, that shame, and that fear. So if you do choose to move forward, whether it's waiting till after you get married or now, it's not like you can just flip a switch.
Right.
So you can still have those feelings of guilt, shame, and fear even after you get married, if you've had those before.
Wow.
So a great affirmation that you can do is just to stand in front of the mirror, look in your eyes, and just tell yourself, I am confident, I'm courageous, and I'm a sexy beast in the bedroom.
Woo!
So
Can I try that right now?
I want you to try that.
Say that?
I love it.
Wait, okay. I'm confident.
I'm
courageous.
I'm courageous, and I'm a sexy beast in the bedroom. I like that.
I like that.
Can I say it again?
Say it one more time. I want you to add some body language.
Okay,
Okay, ready?
Is fun. Okay. I'm confident, I'm courageous, and I'm a sexy beast in the bedroom.
Look at how it came out. I love
beast.
it.
Get those claws out.
I'm a sexy beast in the bedroom.
Good job, girlfriend.
You hear that term that Mama always said, you know, what is it? Be a lady.
Oh, be a lady.
Be a lady in the streets and a whore in the bedroom. So is that kind of just be classy and then behind closed doors? A freak in the sheets.
But see, for Lorena, that might actually be a bad thing, because she's already experiencing guilt, shame, and fear. So, you know, a sexy beast in the bedroom, get a little playful, but I love the confident.
Well, that's what I mean.
Part.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest insecurity, Eugenia?
My biggest insecurity is that maybe I'm not wanted for who I truly am.
Yep. So somebody just wants you for your body.
For that moment. Someone that just wants me for my body. Exactly.
So a really great thing to say, and this will help you actually attract people that align with this, is that I am loved, I am valuable, and I make fantastic connections when I'm intimate.
I am loved, I am valuable, and I make fantastic connections when I'm available. Is that what you said?
When I am intimate.
Oh, when I'm intimate.
Yeah,
okay.
when you're available, I mean. But the thing
or
and
available.
the tip that you can remember at home is pick that biggest insecurity and then create an affirmation that you can say to yourself over and over, and especially before your bedroom experience, that's going to help you feel better about yourself. So coming up next, we're going to have Jamie, our sexpert, back on, giving us some more hot tips about how to talk to your kids about sex.
Wow. Awesome. Can't wait to hear this.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean, separate, cook, and chill. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just
Please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
This is Inside Out, where we are helping you transform soul, body, and image. And today we're talking about a topic that can be a little bit taboo, especially when it comes to parents and children. I have joining me today my daughter Adeline, and she agreed to come on with us today and talk with Jamie, and I'm hoping I can get some advice as a mother about how to talk to my teenagers. And Adeline, will you share with us, what did you tell me in the car on the way over here?
So I was talking to my mom about this whole thing and how great I thought it was, because in school, or a lot of the times in school, that's where you hear most of the things you learn about sex ed and stuff like that. And in our home, we don't really talk about it. Even, my dad's afraid to talk about periods and stuff like that. And so I thought that it was really great that my mom was talking about this, because it's really, really important to know about this and to understand that it's not a bad thing and it's a natural thing and it's something that's supposed to happen and that does happen all the time. And so I feel like, as a culture, it's very, don't talk about it, it's bad. And then once you actually come to doing it, it's, you don't know anything and you don't know what to do and you don't know how to feel. And so it's beneficial to talk about this, especially as a parent with your kids.
Well, it's straight from the mouth of my 14-year-old daughter. Thank you so much for being honest and for sharing that with me. And I want to move forward as a mother in helping to create this environment where we can talk about things, where we don't feel like this is a bad topic or a subject that we're trying to tiptoe around or avoid. So Jamie, I would love to get some advice on how to do that.
First of all, one of the things that we need to do as women and as mothers is become comfortable with it ourselves, because our children are so intuitive and they can tell when we're uncomfortable and want to whisper things and aren't okay.
Is that true, Addie? You can tell when I'm uncomfortable,
Yeah, and so then they feel like, oh, I should be uncomfortable because you're uncomfortable, and they start to mirror that. I think of it like driving. She's going to get ready to drive. And if you talk to her about all the dangers and how horrible driving is and how you can get in wrecks and die, but we don't really do that. We just say, it's going to be really awesome when you're 16 and you can get a license to drive.
Right.
So we should be approaching sex the same way. Not it's dirty, it's wrong, it's shameful, but what to expect when that time comes. That it's an awesome thing, that it's wonderful, it feels great, and just when the time is right.
So tell me a little bit about when the time is right. So we had this opportunity in the car this morning to talk about it. Thanks to Adeline for being brave enough to say something to me. But as a parent, how do you know when the time's right? I mean, I know some parents, and they make a huge production out of it. They're going to take their kids to a church ground or a temple ground, and they're going to talk about it, and it has to be right when they're 13 and 1 day old, and it's a one-time thing. So, I mean, how do we know if the time's right, and how do we approach this subject?
The time is always right. And so it should be talked about at every age all the time. As you would talk about chores, as you would talk about things. As girls are getting their period, you don't just suddenly say, oh, by the way, when this happens in the next few days. So it's something we gradually talk to them about and make it a place where it's like you could ask a question. My mom calls it her mom face, where nothing phases her, and you could freak out later if you're still worried about it. But being able to explain to them that this is absolutely okay. Oh, and can you do the dishes?
Okay, so don't overreact. It's a thing that we can all talk about. So Adeline, what do you think about that?
I mean, definitely in 5th grade, when you watch the video, right?
The video.
I got home, my mom picked me up from school and she's like, so what'd you think? And I was like, I don't know, it's kind of awkward. And she's like, and we kind of just talked about it, and I felt really odd talking about it, especially with my mother, because, before that time, I mean, of course I knew what it was and everything, but I hadn't been taught about it or anything. And so talking about it with someone like my mom, it was just kind of strange because I felt like it was something that shouldn't be talked about.
So
like we said before.
you weren't used to doing it.
I felt wrong talking about it.
Okay.
Because it's like a 4-letter word. It's only 3 letters, but we've treated it like a 4-letter word.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, is it too late?
No.
I mean, obviously, I haven't talked to my kids a lot about it growing up. She's 14. I have a 16-year-old. I have a couple of sons that are teenagers and preteens. So it's never too late.
It's never too late. And the last thing you want is for your children to get their education from the media and from friends that don't know anything.
Okay.
And so even when we're watching movies and a scene comes up, pause the movie and have a quick conversation about it.
Can you imagine doing that in our house? It's going to be an adjustment, but I think it's necessary. I need to do that.
And it doesn't need to be a sit down. I have a girlfriend who would sit her kids down at 12, and then she would tell them that Santa wasn't real. Oh, and here's about sex.
It's not real?
It's traumatizing.
We haven't told, no.
But it's just one of those things that it should be just a conversational piece. You don't have to sit down and make it awkward, or you sit down and you make it awkward.
Okay, I've got it. Well, thank you so much. And Adeline, thank you for being willing and brave and saying something to me so that I know moving forward how to address this issue. And I'm going to make a commitment to talk more openly about this with my children. Adeline, just real quick before we end, what do you think is the #1 misconception that teenagers have, or the #1 bad advice they hear today if their parents aren't willing to talk to them?
I think I've heard a lot from a lot of my friends, especially my non-LDS friends, that like the biggest misconception that they have is that, if they that the man in the relationship expects them to perform to a certain level, and if they don't reach that, then they did a bad job or whatever. And I feel like they feel like a lot of pressure is being put on them as girls to perform.
Wow. So even as teenagers, we're dealing with this. So Jamie, what you're doing is so important. Adeline, I'm committing to do better as a mother and talking more openly about this. Stay tuned, because coming up, Lorena's going to bring a little more information and insight to us about sex and how we can bring God into our relationships.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes, but with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Inside Out. We're here talking about sex. We've covered everything from doing the big conversation with your child, to feeling sexy with image, to feeling sexy with your body and building confidence, turning on those lights, to even soul confidence. And now we're going to talk to Miss Jamie Lynn about the 7-week challenge, right?
That's right.
It's 7 weeks.
Jamie has this great program it's a 7-week challenge, and we were talking about it a little bit last night, and this is fascinating. It's a teaser.
I'm excited.
Like you were telling me, I'm like, this is teasing the man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it's learning to build.
But it's learning to build. I love that.
What we have is men tend to rush in, women pull back. So what we're doing is we're changing it. We're pulling him back and we're coming in. And so it's 7 weeks. And it's
first week.
This sounds juicy. I need my notebook.
This is good.
I need my notebook.
Yeah. First
Get your
week.
pens and notebooks.
Yes. 3 times a week. you'll just sit down and have non-sexual touching. He can play with your hair, you can massage hands, massage feet. Just get back to basic talking and touching.
Yeah. Okay, that would be so difficult because really quick, is it Bill? I love this Bill Engenval. He's a comedian, and he talks about is like she comes home and she just touches him on the shoulder, and he automatically thinks, "All right, we're good to go." You know?
And her reaction is usually, "What just happened?"
I know. I just barely touched you, but to them it means let's do it.
Yeah. And so the program moves week by week, getting more and more intimate till the 7th week.
So week 2.
Week 2, you do spooning.
Spooning.
You're completely naked.
How can you do this? 2 weeks
with your clothes on or naked?
No.
Lights on.
Oh, naked?
Oh, wow.
No talking. Yep. Just syncing your breath.
Wait, do you plan this or do you do it without him knowing?
You talk about it, and you have a giver and you have a receiver through each process.
Okay, so spooning. Week 3?
Week 3, we go on to caressing. Lightly caressing, no sexual body
naked
parts.
Too? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, how can you do that? I would fail this test immediately.
It's easy, self-control. This is a self-control test, really.
Yeah.
Okay. 4th week?
You go into more of the touching and caressing. So the first one is lightly. You go to more touching and caressing. And then the next week is just kissing. Making out.
5th week? The 5th week? Just kissing.
Making out.
Clothes on?
Nope.
It's still off, so you just keep progressing.
So 5th week, are you still doing all the other stuff? You're spooning, you're caressing, you're touching, you're massaging. Okay, so you can do all of the above.
What are you going to do? Because you get all worked up and you can't.
That's what we're learning to do, is how to work the 5 steps to the woman's response.
Build libido.
Build libido.
There's your answer, baby.
Boy, it's getting hot in here. Okay,
and
6?
And then the 6th one is where you do the caressing, and you do
the what?
Caressing.
I thought you said crushing.
We're gonna crush this thing, baby. The caressing.
But
you've already done caressing.
But you haven't involved the sexual body parts. So now you have. Now the last one you do.
Got it.
So then the 7th week, you put it all together.
7th week, that's it.
That's it. And by this time, you are ready. You're really engaged.
That's 2 months.
Wait, okay, do you hear men say, I can't wait 7 weeks to have sex? Like
they first start out saying that, but as they start in the program, they're actually getting what they're wanting. Because for men, it's not just about the sex part either. They want to connect emotionally and physically as well.
Yeah.
They just kind of skip ahead farther than we do.
Yeah. Wow.
And so some of the men love coming back because what they're also learning is how your body works, how they can please you, and that is a turn on to them.
How exciting.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know, Lorena. But I love it though. Conceptually, I love this. Okay, I can't wait to try it.
So this is good news. Thank you for sharing these tips. And this answers your question about libido.
It was you.
You're building. So you guys were talking before I came on set.
Yeah.
So for viewers at home, apply these notes, try it out, grab your husband, tell him all about it.
By the shoulders.
By the shoulders. Coming up next, we have Allison Larson joining us here with Eugenia and I, and we are going to leave you guys with a little message to go on and inspire you to carry you through your day.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
So that's it. You heard it here at Inside Out. We talked everything from building libido, building intimacy in the bedroom, having the talk with your child about, you heard it, SCX, sex. And you know, we also covered one thing which is really important. Sex was created by God. And within good boundaries, healthy boundaries, sex can be a really, really powerful tool in your marriage and in your life. So today, take all your notes, apply them to your life, amp up your love life, amp up your marriage, and open up the box with that uncomfortable conversation with your child, and you will finally feel comfortable and confident.